This tutorial is to give you an introduction on how to navigate and use the resources available from ReadWorks.org. There are 4 sections to ReadWorks.org. The first is Skills and Strategy Units, the next is Comprehension Units, then Novel Study Units, and finally Reading Passages. One feature of ReadWorks.org that is different from other free resource sites is that you can create an account, which I have done, and you can save certain reading passages to your binder, as it's called, so that you don't have to search for them again and again. The first section of ReadWorks is these skill and strategy units. When you click on this area, you come up with a bunch of different skills that students learn during reading. For example, I'll go to main idea. When you click on one of these skills, you're presented with units at various levels of academic complexity, from kindergarten through 6th grade. Now you can have a scaffolded lesson, such as in this 3rd grade unit you have 3 lessons, or you can simply click on Show Books and Passages so that you can actually download the reading passages that are available for that unit. The second section of the website you may find useful is the Comprehension Unit. Now the Comprehension Unit is organized by grade level in school, as well as by the Lexile and the Fountas and Pinnell levels that are attached to each book. Some books have multiple lessons attached to them, and oftentimes what you'll find here is that there will be some kind of lesson as well as paired text questions that go with the resource. So I'm going to scroll down to, let's do the Frog Scientist. For the Frog Scientist, you would have the read aloud lesson for chapter 1, and they'll give you some time, they'll give you the materials you need, and then they'll tell you whether the book or the reading passage is actually provided. And so then they'll give you an exact, almost direct lesson instruction on how to teach the students that skill. If, for example, you don't have the necessary text, or if there's handouts that need to be printed, they'll have student and teacher versions of any organizers or practice that you might need. Let me go back. And they'll also have a paired text that goes with the book and has nonfiction reading and usually some kind of question associated with it. So again, you have the direct instruction lesson here. Any texts, so for example the questions would be here, and then the reading passage would be here. The third section of ReadWorks.org is about novel study. Novel studies are only available for the 5th and 7th grade students, and again they present the Lexile and Fountas and Pinnell levels. What they've done with this instance though is they've separated the novels into their different genres, so biography, historical fiction, poetry, realistic fiction, and fantasy. The genres are not necessarily the same from grade to grade. You see here they have mysteries, science fiction, verse novels, short stories, and autobiographies. The best feature of ReadWorks.org is the Reading Passages feature. The wonderful thing about this feature is that you can sort by a variety of different filters. For example, if I wanted a 6th grade reading passage for a child who's reading with a Lexile between 300 and 400, I can put those filters in, click apply, nothing meets my criteria. But if I said any, because the Lexile level I've put in is lower than 6th grade, and click apply, several other passages appear. For example, there's the occasional 4th grade passage, but most passages at that level are going to be under the 1st grade and kindergarten level. You'll also notice that there are several different ways to look at the passages. You can see that the text type, if you're practicing informational skills or literary skills. You can read passages that might be hitting multiple skills or strategies like identifying the main idea or compare and contrast. Or sometimes those passages will only deal with one skill like predicting, theme, or plot. This is my favorite feature because when you click on a passage, we'll go to a duck out of water. The passage and question sheet are there immediately, and you can just print it right away. You can download it, and you'll see that as you read the passage, There's comprehension questions about, for example, this passage is about what? Only based on the title. So it's checking on text features. It checks on comprehension every 2 paragraphs or so. And it has an answer sheet for the teacher. Some questions and some passages are longer. Some question sets and some passages are shorter. But it's very nice to have, for example, built-in resources. Now, some of these resources are going to have more features than others. This is one of the better ones that they have. Again, you have your passage with attached question set, but then you have a tab called vocabulary. If you're trying to teach a student the word parallel, if there's a vocabulary word used in the passage, which students might not be familiar with, ReadWorks provides a definition, a high-level definition, explains the part of speech, and then gives various examples of how parallel might be used in the correct context. And on occasion, sometimes these words will be presented in Spanish if you have a student who doesn't have that language fully. There are also other paired texts because sometimes they share a theme, sometimes they have the same skill as addressed, and so if you're trying to show students the theme of trying new things, you could go to this paired passage of Amra and the skateboard. If you have any other questions about ReadWorks or are needing help finding a resource, just contact Bonham West via email or in her office at star 4113.